Good afternoon and welcome to our Meet the Candidates program. My name is Jennifer Harmoning, President of the Burnsville Chamber. We are here today partnering between the Burnsville Chamber of Commerce and the Savage Chamber of Commerce to bring you this Meet the Candidates for Minnesota House District 55A. We're glad to have both Jess Hansen and Gabriella Kroetch here today. And I'm going to turn it over to our moderator and chair of our Public Policy Committee here at the Burnsville Chamber, Brady Folkstead.
Thank you, Jennifer. Again, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us for the 55A Meet the Candidates. Just a quick for those that are online and trying to figure out if 55A is your district. 55A encompasses all of Savage, as well as the far north and western section of Burnsville. So if you live west of 35W, north of 136th Street, and west of Burnsville Parkway, this will be your district, and these will be, one of these two will be representing you in St. Paul come after the November election. With that, just a couple of ground rules. We do give the candidates 2 minutes to answer each one of the questions. We did flip a coin to see who would begin answering questions first, and Jess Hansen will be kicking us off. So with that, Jess, first question for you coming your way is tell us a little bit about you and what motivated you to run for office.
Thanks, Brady, and thanks to the Chamber and everybody who is participating today. You know, you could choose to do anything with your time, and choosing to be engaged in this process is both meaningful and important because this is a big part of what shapes our community, our state, and our future. So thank you for tuning in. I'm Jess Hansen. I grew up in Lakeville, and I've lived in the South Metro my entire life. I'm a mom of two, and I raised them largely on my own after I had my daughter when I was just 17 years old. I'm a first-generation college graduate, and I have degrees in social work and political leadership. And I ran for office because I really wanted to be part of the decision-making process for middle-class and working-class families like mine who are really struggling to make ends meet. I know what it's like as a single income household to really struggle to find all of the funds necessary to pay for all of the things. And when I watched what was happening at the Capitol, I didn't hear a lot of people talking about the needs that we had for middle-class Minnesotans. And so it became important to me to just model and talk about the importance of the politics of care and what it means to take care of each other. I believe that we deserve that, and we also deserve a responsible government. My great-grandfather was a small business owner right here in the district for many, many years, right off of Chowan Avenue. And so I grew up visiting his small business, and it really was important to me that I support the small businesses in our community as a result, because his small business supported our family in our times of need as well. And so I saw what he went through with that, and that really pushed me to go into this work promoting small businesses. So I was elected in 2020, and I'm now the Vice Chair of Economic Development in Minnesota. We're both a finance and policy committee, and that has been a really great experience for me to talk one-on-one with small business owners around the state, whether they're inventors or creators or labor fields like carpentry or painting or any of our great trades. It was really important to me. So I'm excited to talk more today and learn more from you as well. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much. And next, same question to you, Gabriella. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what motivated you to run for office.
So hello, everyone, and thank you, Chamber members, for hosting this wonderful event. My name is Gabriella Kroetch. I live in Savage. I have moved here with my husband in 2008, so we've been living in this community for over 16 years now. My journey began basically 22 years ago when I was lucky enough to immigrate to this beautiful country. In my 4 decades of life, I have lived in a communist country. I have lived in socialist democracy. And I have witnessed firsthand how heavy government regulation can really stifle business growth and create hardships among business community. Living through that experience has given me very unique and clear perspective on the importance of balance, governance, and balance in regulation and policy. My husband's family owns a small business. I have business owners in my own family. My grandfather as well was a business owner. My uncle, my brother is still a business owner. So I am very familiar with the struggles and challenges business owners and small businesses face. What motivated me to jump in was while raising my family in this district, I had a front row seat to declining educational outcomes in my own district and in my own family. And that was the biggest motivator for me to jump in. I want to ensure that our community thrives, that our small businesses get the support that they need, and that our children really receive quality education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. First question here as we rotate back and forth. Gabriella, you're going to be back on the hot seat here. But we are the Chamber of Commerce. Business is primarily what we're concerned about. Do you consider yourself to be a pro-business candidate? And if so, or if not, what do you believe being a pro-business candidate and representative means?
Yes, I definitely consider myself to be a pro-business candidate. To me, being pro-business means fostering an environment where businesses, especially small storefronts, businesses, local businesses can thrive. Like I have mentioned just a short minute ago, I come from a family with deep roots in local businesses. My husband's family is even more. His parents, grandparents actually are business owners that have been in business for 6 decades. I have watched them struggle through many periods of time, 2008, for example, and other periods since then where life with a heavy government regulation was quite challenging for them to stay in business, to make money, and to thrive and grow. To me, being pro-business also means supporting policies that lower all of government unnecessary regulatory burdens, keep the taxes at the reasonable level, and encourage home ownership and business ownership, not home ownership, sorry. It also means to create strong workforce, invest in education and educational training programs. It also means, I do believe government needs to be a partner versus a barrier. So in short, being pro-business to me means ensuring that our businesses have the support that they need to grow, expand, create jobs, and contribute to a thriving economy. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jess, now the same question to you. Do you consider yourself to be a pro-business candidate? And if so, or if not, what does being pro-business mean to you?
Well, thank you for that question. I do think it's important to ask folks this question because when I started in politics, I felt like there were more politicians I should ask this question of, because I came into an environment where there was a lot of people who weren't necessarily business owners, and if they were already very successful, whether that be from generational privileges or generational work, or whether it was something that was inherited or built. A lot of different places in the legislature, those types of business folks were prominent. And as I thought about what were the opportunities for folks in our community who I knew were just starting businesses, were in their first few years, and what kind of support did they need? And on the campaign trail, both cycles, I heard really clearly from folks that there was a lot of technical support that people needed. And so going into this work as a pro small business candidate was really important to me, and really talking about how do we help grow small businesses. For many folks in my generation, opportunities at entrepreneurship are the future for them. And so we have to be pro-business, but we have to be pro-business and as going forward, so more and more people can continue to have that opportunity. And so where there are really strict red tapes or really legislation that exists that really makes it harder to do business, those are some of my favorite bills to work on. So like I said, I'm the vice chair of economic development, and in that committee we passed the most significant small business bills for our very diverse small business community in state history. And so we were really excited to offer those opportunities and support for new business owners to thrive, because everybody, in my opinion, deserves the opportunity to thrive in this economy, no matter whether they come from generational businesses or if they're coming in as new business owners. So that's what it means to me. It means talking to the folks that have been in the business for a while and the new ones who want to come in, and crafting laws that work for them.
All right, you got right up to the edge of the time. Good job. With that, next question here, shifting gears a little bbit, and as we're rotating, Jess, this is coming back to you right away. Both of you alluded to education and schools, and strong public schools are cornerstones for our community and our workforce. Last couple of years, we've had historic investments in education. This year, though, we've got a lot of schools in the area that are reaching out for levy renewals and shortfalls in funding. Do you consider schools to be fully funded? And along with that, some of these shortfalls, do we think that has to do with additional mandates that have come through the last couple of sessions as well?
Thank you for this question as well. I really love seeing that our whole community is included when we talk about the needs of small businesses, because small business owners have families. And I think it's really important to have that conversation intertwined with this. So thank you for doing that. I think that the investments that we made were indeed historic, but they were making up for many, many, many years of underfunding. And so we still, in my opinion, have more work to continue to do to really meet the district's needs. We also have to remember that we did not close the gap in the special education cross subsidy, which remains an issue and a priority for me and many, many people in our community with kids with disabilities. So we need to continue to do that work. So in those terms, there's still continued work to do. But it's the way that education funding and formulas work is it takes time for that money to get out. You know, we just passed this historic budget within the last biennium here. And so over the course of the next couple of years, as that money is in the budget and in the formula to fund, is when we'll start to see more improvements. So a lot of the levies and things that schools need are, again, to continue to make up for the deficit of funding that has happened in public education for a really long time. And it just takes time for that money to get to schools. They don't have an immediate return on investment like we see in maybe some other areas. So I think these levies are really necessary in the meantime to continue to support our local governments. At the state level, we don't levy those funds or those taxes on property taxes on people. So local governments will do more of that, but we still try to make sure that we're there should those property taxes, cause any hardships for families. If property taxes go up 12%, the state has programs to help pitch in with that, some homestead property tax credits that have raised, and some more things.
All right, thank you. And Gabriella, same to you. A lot of funding over the last couple of years headed to schools, and yet schools are still going out for levies to close those funding gaps and shortfalls. Do you consider the schools to be fully funded, or do you believe that increased mandates have caused some of the recent shortfalls?
Yes, well, we all want to see our students thrive. While there have been historic investments in education over the past 2 sessions, schools throughout this area specifically are still facing shortfalls and going out for levies, and it's specifically my own school district here, 719, Prior Lake Savage, which basically shows that the issue isn't just about dollars. One major factor is the 65 new unfunded mandates that the DFL passed, placing additional burdens on schools without providing the necessary funding to implement them. I serve on a local teaching and learning committee at the Prior Lake Savage area schools, and that have been a big discussion for this past year. These mandates take resources away from where they're needed most, and that's in classroom. They also add strain to already tight budgets. So I do not consider that our schools are fully funded. Simply increasing the budget doesn't solve the underlying issues. We need to focus on making sure the schools have the flexibility how they spend the money. And they also they should not be overwhelmed by unfunded mandates. Our goal should be to ensure that all of the investments are actually improving educational outcomes for our students, which currently is not true. This district has two major school districts in it. It's a 191 Savage, Burnsville, Apple Valley, and 719 Prior Lake and Savage. I can tell you the academic proficiency in math, reading, and science in Burnsville 191 is barely above 30%, and in Prior Lake Savage is barely above 50%. I do believe our kids deserve better.
Right, and thank you both. Moving on to the next question here. It would not be a good Chamber of Commerce forum if taxes didn't come up. So budget forecast shows that state spending has been outpacing tax revenue. Coming up here is going to be a budget year. How do you plan on handling this imbalance? And this is going to be going to Gabriella first.
Well, it is a serious concern that needs to be addressed proactively in 2025. To handle this imbalance, we need to start by really looking into spending across the board and ensuring that the taxpayer dollars are being used efficiently and effectively where needed. One of my priorities would be to identify areas where spending can be reduced or streamlined without compromising essential services such as education, public safety, and infrastructure. This means looking closely at waste, inefficiencies, and programs that are not delivering the intended results. I believe my approach would be to promote policies that encourage economic growth, support small businesses, and attract new investments to generate more revenue organically, rather than relying on tax increases. I think we need to strive to find a balance between funding essential programs and making sure we don't spend beyond our means. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now over to Jess. Same question, of course. There appears to be an imbalance between the growth in spending and the growth in revenue. How can we handle that in the upcoming session, should you be reelected?
Thank you for this question. It is always really important to me that we keep making the best investments in Minnesota, because this is where I have been born and raised. My family's been in this state for over 200 years, I think, if my grandma's genealogy matches up right. And it is the best place in the country to live, work, play, and raise a family. And that means that we need to invest in it and make sure that we're supporting it. So once we meet all of the needs we have to keep this the best place in the country, then I think it is appropriate to look at where government spending is not giving us a return on investment as society deserves. So I've mentioned, schools in my last comments. I think continuing to invest in those schools is the solution. I mean, we know that money makes the world go round. Money is what makes people have the capacity to feed their children. It's what keeps jobs competitive, and making sure that teachers have jobs that can help them live at a basic necessity, I think is really important. I know the struggles our teachers are going through. I hear from teachers all the time about how hard it is to stay in that profession. So making our investments in schools with any budget we have is always going to be a top priority to me, and also to offset some of that from the property tax base as well, and make sure our local communities can focus on funding local projects as well. I think it is also important to know that we had passed the largest middle-class tax breaks in the history of the state ever. The only people who didn't get a tax break over the last biennium are the ultra rich. And I think that's how it should be. We now have the most fair individual tax system in the nation. And that's something to be proud of. But that doesn't mean we can't go further. We know families like mine are struggling. And so really focusing on the needs of middle-class families with kids is going to be my top priority.
All right, well, thank you both. Next, we've talked about historic increases in funding, some historic spending as well. Next really is coming down to small business owners. During the last session, there were many new mandates and new services that small businesses need to be paying attention to and implement. We're finding from the Chamber of Commerce, both here and statewide, that small businesses are struggling to understand the mandates first and then to implement them from these past 2 years. If elected, how would you consider alleviating this burden on our small business owners? Jess, that'll be to you first.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I know that one of the things that folks face when they're trying to implement these mandates is really feeling like they don't have the support. Of all the small businesses I've talked to over the last 4 years, that's something that comes up a lot. And I really advocated to make sure that whatever new rules or mandates that went on to businesses, that we equitably invested in the support. And so part of that, these small business partnership programs and other programs that we have at DEED that are there to support our small businesses. The money is there, it is available. We want to make sure that people know how to access that and have the resources to do so. And that's hard, right? We know that access to knowledge is a privilege, and not everybody, even having the time to do that, is a privilege. And so understanding the burdens that small business owners are under, we want to be available to you. My office offers a great service for constituent services that people are encouraged to reach out to, so that we can continue to help be sure small businesses that I currently represent have the support that they need. And if they don't, we can do something about it. Some of my favorite bills that I've worked on have been bills that came out of the minds and the community members right in our area. And so people that have really clear visions for what they would like to see for changes and how to remove some of the red tape that they're experiencing, I invite folks to contact me. I have passed over 50% of the bills that I have dropped, which is far higher than what the state and national averages are. And we can do this. And so if you really feel strongly that there are things out there that we can change, I want to hear those stories and talk to people about that. I absolutely, with my entire being, believe that we've got the tenacity to do it together. I'm also really excited about what Vice President Harris said last night about her small business plan. And so I would love to advance a concept like that would really support more of our small business owners too.
Yeah, thank you. And Gabrielle, now to you. Small businesses are struggling to understand and implement a lot of the new mandates. If elected, how would you consider alleviating this burden on our small business owners? Apologize, I believe we have you on mute still, if you could unmute.
Yeah, sorry, I did that to myself. My bad. Anyway, small businesses are indeed struggling to implement the numerous workplace mandates passed by the DFL in the last 2 sessions, and this is something that's very concerning. Mandates like paid family and medical leave, earned sick and safe time, and similar mandates like the Secure Choice Retirement Program are placing heavy financial burden on employers. For example, paid family and medical leave requires a payroll tax that can rise as high as 1.2%. On top of that, businesses must shoulder the cost of HR, the compliance, replacing employees, et cetera, et cetera. I do believe we absolutely need to prioritize lifting these burdens. We need to review these mandates and look at solutions that offer flexibility for small businesses to, let's say, opt into private sector solutions for leave programs or providing tax credits to help offset compliance costs. Additionally, I believe by reducing unnecessary red tape and offering more clarity and guidance for small business owners can truly help them navigate these challenging these challenges without cost, without financial cost. Small businesses are truly the backbone of any community, our community as well, and we need to ensure that the government policies support rather than hinder their success. Thank you.
And thank you both. Now, coming down, time to wrap up. We've covered a lot of territory here. 1 minute. First, it'll be to Gabriella. Why are you the best candidate to represent our area?
I am the best candidate to represent our area because I'm deeply connected to the community and understand the challenges that we face firsthand. I've lived here for over 16 years and my family is deeply rooted in this district. My husband comes from a family of small business owners, and my brother and my uncle, my grandfather all run small businesses. So I know the importance of supporting local businesses and keeping our economy strong. I have experienced both the successes and frustrations that our residents face, whether it's in education, public safety, or dealing with ever-increasing regulations. I'm committed to addressing these issues with practical solutions that focus on strengthening of our community, my ability to bring people together and work collaboratively with local leaders to ensure that we can tackle all of the challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jess, to wrap things up here, 1 minute, why are you the best candidate to represent our area?
Well, I want to thank you all for having us today. And I want to thank everybody for, again, making politics part of your day and part of your life, because I do think it is critical to the success of our community. And I think I'm the best candidate to represent this area because I've been supported and trusted by the community to do so since 2020. My legislative successes are many, as I mentioned, passing over 50% of the bills that I've dropped, which is significantly higher than the state and national average, fulfilling the city's agendas, as well as bringing forward bills from people right here in the community who have done really great work finding solutions to the problems that we face. I believe that politics is how we care about each other and that we deserve a responsible government. And I think my work has been both bipartisanly supported and shown exactly those values. So I remain open and transparent about the works that we do. And I think that you deserve a representative who is accessible and there to fight for you. Thanks, everyone.
All right, and thank you. Thank you both. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Gabrielle, for joining us. And for those that have been tuning in to watch this, this is House District 55A, Olive Savage, and the northwestern portion of Burnsville. Thank you again. And on behalf of the chamber, best of luck to each of you. Please run a good race, and please don't forget about our businesses and our local communities. And with that, Jennifer, back to you.
Thank you, Brady. Thank you for volunteering your time to moderate these Meet the Candidates events. I think they're really important for the community, and the Burnsville and Savage Chambers are happy to provide that service. Thank you to both of our candidates, and we look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care.